Okay, Couture, you kind of threw me off a little bit in this episode at first. Kind of threw me off. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for P-Valley. This is season 2, episode 5. As I was saying, Katori and the gang kind of threw me off a little bit here. This episode, we basically did a pause and freeze for the most part with 3/4 of this episode. And what we did, something that we never actually really did too much of, is actually venturing backwards to really find out the origin of one of the characters, Mississippi. Now, definitely needed because she is one of the more interesting. These characters, they're so colorful, each one of them. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing an episode on each one. You know, I just don't know about the placement and where you would actually put them. But each of the characters in this, their backstories, just a little that we know, is enough to do an episode on. Mississippi was definitely a good choice. She's definitely a good choice. But the whole thing of going backwards, we kind of just like paused the story. We went backwards, and we had to do that to actually go forward. But you don't really know that when you're actually watching. So I'm kind of sitting here, and I have to say, the way that it was presented to us, I didn't even feel like I was watching P-Valley at a point. You know, and it kept going, you know, we kept getting little splashes of what was going on in the real time as they kept going back. But it pretty much stayed back there for 3/4 of the episode. It literally didn't feel like I was watching P-Valley. It felt like I was just watching a really good episode of A Different World. And I know some of my younger viewers are probably like, what the hell? Yeah, Different World. Woo, then where you come from. That's history, y'all. Yes, it is now. Yeah. Shout out to Riri, honey. Rest in peace, darling. But okay, so listen. So it felt like A Different World. It really did. It was, you know, really an episode covering blended families. It talked about colorism, of all out fall down racism, abuse, just inappropriate behavior as a whole. And you know, it was like, it just wasn't, even with all of that, it wasn't as gritty and as grimy as P-Valley is usually. But oh baby, when we got moving forward, you know, we caught up to where we down in the valley where the girl is getting naked. You know, it caught up. So it wasn't bad at all. So I'm not saying that. This episode, I would definitely say someone who has never seen the show before could have come in on this episode and still fallen in love with the program and wanted to go backward and catch up and then go forward. So it's cool, but it was just a different feel. It felt like a fairy tale or like a dream sequence, like a whole, and that's kind of how it was filmed, like a dream sequence, but whatever. And Uncle Clifford actually did all the narration. So that was, you know, that's a whole thing in itself. Like that's a whole thing. You could actually build a whole season around him narrating and just doing episodes literally dedicated to each of the characters. Now, if you do it, I want my damn check, Katori, because I just threw that out there. I want my check. Anyway, listen. So let's talk. We're talking about Keyshawn. When we first start off in real time, okay? Rome and her are talking here. He got her a deal where she got her own line of lace fronts. And I'm looking at him, and what he's doing, he's trying to change her image. You know, she does what she does, but he's trying to change her image from what it is that she got going on, and basically trying to form her into what it is that he sees and what he envisions for her. I told y'all before, I was like, he's sweet on her. He'd have put her in this blonde hair. She's like, oh, I don't think this goes with my skin. you know. And she was really excited about the whole launch of the lace front line. Naturally, you know, that's big business. Um, he gets her in there, then he tells her the tour has actually been extended a week. They were only supposed to have another week to go, so it's been extended. Now they got 2 weeks to go, and of course she's like, "Oh my God, Derek is gonna snap out." He already told her, "Look, I already smoothed it over with Derek. This, that, see, he doing too much." She didn't even talk to Derek about it. You done jumped in and then smoothed it over with him, which you know with Derek, that could easily get her ass whooping. Okay? But whatever. Um, and then he made a comment, I'm gonna fix it so you ain't gotta go back. And that's what I kept saying. Okay, so this is exactly what I thought. I think he wants first of all, she's a moneymaker. She is a moneymaker. He can play all the games he want to play. She is bringing cheese his way. Okay, that's why he spends so much time. Or he's literally touring around with her. She's a moneymaker, flat out. Um, we're actually in Atlanta at this point. Okay, and they are at this whole guest appearance for Mississippi, and Jocelyn Child Jocelyn, honey, is the hostess, and they brought her down. She come down from the ceiling in like a swing type of situation. She levitated down from the ceiling. I was like, "Come on through here, Jocelyn." She looked good. Oh, she looked good. She really did. She looked good. I said, Katori. Girl, did y'all pre-record Jocelyn's lines and have her lip sync? Listen, I I can't say I was so tickled. I said, "Come on, Jocelyn, baby, it ain't me. You are the real drag queen, baby. Get work, honey." I said they had this heifer pre-record her lines, honey. And they got her lip syncing her part, honey. I said, lip syncing her own words. I saw. Okay, but listen, you know how Jocelyn is. I get it, but you look good, girl. You look good. Anyway, get her down there. Then she started performing a little bit. She was doing "Do It Like It's About to Be Day." I said, okay, this is a good look for Jocelyn. You know, we always get Jocelyn in the news, and it's always something bad, or she's showing out. She acted like a wild ass dog, or something. This was good. This is definitely a feather in your cap. This is definitely people who are fans and are not trying to make you look bad, who are actually doing something for you, to put you in a good light. And it was actually refreshing to see. I'm laughing and poking. We always poke at Jocelyn. You know me, I'm a show reviewer, and I've known Jocelyn since Jocelyn came around, on the scene. And yeah, you know how she get down, baby. It's just, what's the lean, honey? That's her. She made good reality TV, but this right here, I thought was a really good look. Now I don't know about her like acting and other stuff going forward. Hell, I mean, you was playing yourself, so like, how hard is that? But anyway, she's there, and there was a couple other girls from the Love and Hip Hop franchise, and just the strip scene in general, that were actually there, and they made mention of them, and they kind of flashed, and you seen them, but they didn't make a real big deal about them. This was Jocelyn's moment, and I'm happy for her. Really, really happy for her. So that was cool, and we had some good stuff there. This whole time when this is going on, Lil Murder is kind of like, I don't know why Rome ain't hooked me up. We all together, we all traveling together, doing all our business. Why ain't he hook me up? Why ain't he hook it up to where I could perform with Mississippi? You know what I mean? It don't make no sense. I'm here. My song is hot. It's playing. I got a song that actually shouts out the ATL and all that. He could have hooked that up. Why he acting like that? Child, him and Teak, him and Big Teak, you know what's going on. And they ain't on good terms. And baby, it's like every conversation is leading into them like bickering with each other and kind of arguing. So it was kind of one of those things. And then they're sitting there, and Rome comes over, And, you know, he says something to him, and Rum's like, whatever, like blowing him off. And then he's like, you know, I'm tired of carrying you niggas. I'm like, oh. I said, okay. Yeah. He basically is getting to a point where he feel like I don't think he sees that Wody ain't going nowhere, pretty much. Because I believe he wanted to get rid of Wody. And if he could get rid of Wody, he would go ahead and manage Lil Murder. And then, you know, he would be making a coin. But he'd have to get rid of Wody, and he definitely would want to get rid of Big Teak. So to do that, he would actually he'd have to finesse Lil Murder the same way he finesses Mississippi. But can you imagine the coin that he would make off of both of them? But you got to get rid of Big Teak, and you got to get rid of Wody, and that ain't happening. So that whole thing. Anyway, so from there is where we actually go on into our, basically what I'll say is our dream sequence, and we go backwards into finding out all this stuff about Mississippi. What is Mississippi? Where did Mississippi come from? Because her name is Keyshawn. So how was Mississippi born? And we go through the story. She is, oh, it's a mess. It's such a mess. She is this beautiful, she's brought up in this beautiful home. So this is where we see where she is kind of like, she has some bougie, you know, she always has this air of bouginess to her. And then there's another air of like brokenness. And that's part of what makes her such the perfect character, because you're so good at this ratchetness that is Pussy Valley. Yet we always get the air that you feel like you're really too good to be there. And that's what makes Mississippi who she is. And then you got so much other foolishness going on that you don't even have to have going on. There are men who would just gobble her up, yet you're stuck with Derek. Why? What is this connection to you and Derek? Why can't you get him out of your system? You know? She's gorgeous. She's a little black Barbie doll. You want a white man? Child, take a pic. Take a pic. They love little black Barbie dolls. I said it. They love our women. They love them. They love them. Just like white women love black men, honey. Now, will they always take you home? No, I ain't going to take you home. But they love them. You have your pick. She could choose any white man she wants, child. But why Derek? So let's get into it. So we get down into it. Beautiful home. She's raised in this beautiful home, okay? Privileged life. Everything's cool. They all right. But this is her daddy and her stepmother. Her stepmother is this more fair-skinned black woman. She has two daughters, both pretty girls. One's fair-skinned, one's brown-skinned. The brown-skinned one has beautiful, long, real long hair, okay? You got Keyshawn, you know, she doing her thing. She's pretty too, but she's doing her own thing. And then you have the daughter that is fair-skinned, and she's cute and everything. She really does look like the mom. They did like excellent casting. But we got them there. It's the colorism within the home is so powerfully evident, to the point where it's a thing where Keyshawn is close in age to the older sister, and there's an air of competition because she is the chosen one. The older sister is the chosen one. Keyshawn is the outsider. And then you got the younger sister. The younger sister is brown skinned, so she basically is being made to feel less than, okay, within the home. She know it ain't about her, okay? But, you know, when all chips is down, girl, we love you more than this one, because this one's just a damn outsider. Keyshawn's father does some type of business where I guess he travels or whatever. So they were like all waiting on him to get home and everything, and there was this whole thing, and just the woman was just nasty, and she just kind of she had this thing of like she's talking about her daughters and them being debutantes and oh this that and the other, and like they're gonna have this glamorous fabulous future, and then she told Keyshawn, girl, you should go to hair school. Now I know cosmetology is like billions of dollars, but hair school has always been looked down like when you can't do nothing else, you go to hair school. You be the beauty school dropout when you can't do nothing else. Okay, so that's like that's a dig. But what it is we know Keyshawn loves the hair business and all of that. She has a knack for it, has a talent for it. So even back then, she was doing her sister's hair. Real Cinderella story. It's a real Cinderella story. And she was doing the girl's hair, and the woman was saying just stuff that was just so out of order and just really throwing her off. And she had messed around and burnt the girl's ponytail. Burnt the ponytail, and this is when you was like, oh God, this colorism girl. You are colorist to the point where you just don't give a damn. You hurt your own girls with it. And she goes and she says, when she burnt, she gonna say, oh, you know you need your ass. What you said you done burnt, you done messed up the one thing that made her. I said, oh. See, that colorist stuff is crazy to me. It is really crazy to me. Like I know of it because I think when you're black, you know of colorism, but I think the first time that you're ever really faced with it, it really does shock you and take you aback, especially when it happens. With me, it actually happened. I was grown. I was literally grown, like grown. With, I have a cousin that I was really close to, and I never actually, she's more what we would call red bone. Never actually paid attention to her having coloristic ways. I just never really paid any attention to it. And then one day, she made a comment that directly affected me. It was about me and my oldest boy. And because with my children, my oldest boy is my complexion. The other one is a fair complexion, but they look exactly alike. They look exactly alike, but one is fair and one is brown. That's and it's always been a thing. Ain't a big thing inside of my house. It wasn't no big thing, but never paid any attention. And I said something about, I don't even know what the conversation was, but it was about him and his color and something. It had something to do with like a garment and that it would look good on him. Like it, you know, because I wear this color well, he'll be able to wear this color well too. And honey, my cousin, like, he ain't as dark as you. And her face was like, oh, so I'm like, what does that mean? And I'm like, wait a minute now, hold on. And that's the first time that had ever actually clicked to me, like, is she serious? And then, you know, hindsight is 20/20. So I started thinking back to just things, and I guess that's what you would call trigger. She triggered me. Because I started thinking back to different things that she has said in the past. And I'm like, well, I'll be damned. It just has slid right underneath. I never had paid it any mind. And I mean, I had thought back to, I remembered her saying something about one of her own children. She had said, you know, oh, I'll be so glad when the summertime is over so he can, her son, so he can go back to his regular color. And again, it didn't directly involve me, so I didn't really pay it any mind. Because I've never had color issues. I've never had body issues. I've always been happy with me and what I was given to work with. So I never had those issues. And, you know, my grandma was even darker than me. And I always wanted to be as dark as her. You know, so But when when she made that comment about my boy being not as dark as me when we're the same complexion, I was like, what the hell's her deal? So it throws you off, and it does. You're like, wow, like, do you hear yourself when you see a black person really doing all of this, especially when it's a parent of children that are, you know, you have a child that is dark skinned, and you would say something that could possibly be hurtful to that person, like they're less than, or like something's wrong with her, or you don't care for her. It was a mess. It was a mess to me. So that got right. This whole little thing got right up underneath my skin. I was already ready to yank her from the door. I was like, she's an idiot. But yeah, what it was about that older daughter, period. And that was that. And so we go on, and then there was the funny part is when we finally do see the guy who played Keyshawn's dad. Keyshawn's dad is brown like Keyshawn. I was like, this is crazy. This is crazy. Like, I mean, she was denouncing Keyshawn, like, but she said, you know, raising 2 daughters. She's like, 3. You're raising 3 children. And she's like, huh? She's like, you're raising 3 children. Oh, okay. All right. We go on with that. I'm gonna jump outside of their house for a minute. We'll come back to their house. It's just a mess. Child, at school, this is where she actually met Derek in school. He was a cheerleader, and she was trying out for the cheering squad. Okay, her and the older sister. Okay, and Keyshawn was messing up. She couldn't do the stunt, you know, which is crazy. Like that, she ended up being Mississippi bad bitch and my crooked letter, you know. But yeah, she couldn't get that stunt together, and he was just there, and he was like this quintessential, just cornbread fed white boy, and he was all right. He wasn't, you know, overly sexy like model type but he was just thick. Like he was thick, and he was that dude, okay? And he was different. He was a cheerleader and different things, but he wasn't feminine or anything like that. And here, she had fallen and everything, so she was sitting over to the side. Then there were some football players, 3 black football players, and the one was trying to holler at her, and she was kind of like, you know, just blowing him off. So he cussed her out. You know, guys doing a cat call, cussed her out. And Derek said something to him. Well, he said something about him being a pansy and being a cheerleader. Well, Derek told him off, and he went to turn around and walk away and told him, just whatever you say is fine. I don't care nothing about that. You just don't disrespect her. Leave her alone. You know what I mean? And he went to walk away, and the boy spit on him. And he turned around, and when I said, now you ought to be shaming yourself, honey. You so bold as to be spitting on people. When I tell you Derek beat his ass. Oh, Derek is an ass whooper. Now, see, that was Keyshawn, girl. That was your first inclination that maybe not, girl. He beat his ass. Do you understand? Tore his ass up. And then to the 2 other ones that came, he tore their asses up too. I said, oh, girl, y'all is tired of it. Y'all are really tired. Y'all done lost y'all black card all the and I'll see who's being stereotypical now. But anyway, so they lost their black card. He beat their ass, honey. All 3 of them, like in a movie. And jumped back on him and just pop, 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 pop. He beat their ass, honey. He's an old ass whooper from way back. Okay, he whooped their ass, honey. And she was sitting there like, oh, he beat the shit out of him. Anyway, so then we actually got to see where they actually live, and we got to see white privilege as well. Because here we go. He's talking to Keyshawn. He sees him out in the hallway, and he done bloodied them out, balled them out. The 3 of them got suspended, and he didn't get anything. He got, I think he got detention, like detention for a day or a week or something. But they got suspended, and he said, Keyshawn said, so you didn't get suspended when technically you started it? And he was like, basically about his family. His family was well-to-do, and also he was like, you know, there's like this whole competition with the cheerleading and stuff. They need me on team. Whatever. So, anyway. That was that. And when she couldn't do the stunt, I left that out too. When she couldn't do the stunt, the older sister kind of jumped in. Oh, I'll do it. And they're like, oh, okay. And she's like, oh, no, I want to do the next stunt up. You know, she's old. Yeah, whatever. Anyhow. But the 2 sisters actually would go at each other too. They were so busy battling with each other that they really didn't have a lot of time to mistreat Keyshawn. Keyshawn got more of her mistreatment from the mother, and the mother resented Keyshawn, and this is where I'm going to tell you why. So we're going to go back over to Keyshawn's house. And there was this whole little situation. They're waiting on the dad. The dad doesn't come in town. He's coming, and they getting this dinner together and everything like that. And child, they get to going back and forth, and the mother, this daughter was like, "Mama, tell us how you met Daddy. This, that, and the other, and on and on and on." She gets to talking about, oh, it's like a fairy tale. This, that, and the other, and yeah, I was working a flight, and I came and I gave him a drink, and that's where it all started from. Honey, and Keyshawn was sitting over there. She said, "Yeah, but you forgot the part where you served his wife a drink first." I said, "Oh." Baby, she cracked her story wide open, honey. And she told, and they had some words back and forth, and she told her, yeah, I mean, you say what you want to say, honey. You was a home wrecker, honey. I'm just telling you the truth. You sitting up telling the story like it was some old fairy tale, but it's not. You were a home wrecker, honey. Girl, that mother picked up a bowl of food, honey, and threw the food on Keyshawn. I said, oh, wait a minute now. Threw the food on her, honey. And Keyshawn took a bowl of food, honey, and threw the whole goddamn bowl at her. I said, woo, all right, honey. She told her, you got me fucked up, bitch. She threw the whole bowl. I said, yes, ma'am, honey. So that told me that Keyshawn was her daddy's baby girl, because the woman was out of order, but something told me that the woman wouldn't actually do that if the daddy was actually there. Honey, she got her right together. Told you got me messed up. But then she set her up, she had to go up in her room and everything like that. So that was like, I said, okay, so now we see these whole dynamics here. So then we actually see there's like this whole Christmas. No, I'm moving too fast. Let me go back. The first little date. Keyshawn was coming home one day and it was raining. And Derek pulled up beside her in the car. It's like, get in, She just had a book. She didn't have no umbrella. She just had the little thing over her head or whatever. And he puts her in a car, and he ends up taking her to this little restaurant. And when you go into the restaurant, you see it's mostly black students hanging out. It's like a place where the teens hung out. It's mostly black students. And when you look, who was the waitress in there working, honey? I said, I know that ain't you, Miss Patrice Woodbine. Miss Woodbine was in there working. She was working back then. And she said, she said she wanted some fries or something light. She was like, why? Girl, you sure you don't want something else? You don't want more than that, honey? She said, you are paying for this, aren't you? He is paying for this, isn't he? I said, damn, Patrice Woodbound was a mess even back then, honey. But she was telling her right. It's like, he's like, he said, you on this date. I know he paying. And that's what Keyshawn's like, is this a date? There, this, that, and the other. They're going back and forth. So he's like, no, not really. Because if it was really, a date, I wouldn't be bringing you here, for a date, for the first date. She said, so where would you be taking me to? And he told her, he spelled out this whole date that was, I'll take you here, and we'll go here, and then we go walking over here, one of them little fairy tale dates. And then she said, oh, okay, but would you take me home? Baby, he looked around and looked at her like, take your black ass nowhere with me, honey. So she's like, oh. But then she did with Keyshawn. See, that's the Keyshawn. Ain't nothing changed. You knew. You already knew. You didn't measure up. You already knew you weren't the girl that he could take home, honey. You knew that from the door before y'all even got started. So some of that made me kind of say, well, Keyshawn, I really don't feel that bad for you, girl, because all the signs were there. Anyway. So they sitting there, honey. And she still just went right back into Keyshawn, Okay, well, okay, it's all right. Good. No, it ain't all right. That was the end of it. Take me home. Take me home to my house. Thanks for the ride and the hell with you. But no, not her. She moved right along with the program, dummy. And that's why you in the predicament that you're in now. That's why you get the bass whoopings and all of that. that you get now because the signs were all there and you didn't pay them any attention. See, that was the precursor to your ass whooping. See, you already knew what type of ass whoopings that he gave out from the door. When you seen him bust up 3 football players, you already knew, girl, you couldn't even stand up in the pyramid at that point, that you knew you couldn't take a punch, bitch. But you continued on, getting what it was that was inevitable that you were going to get, which is your ass whooped. Anyway, moving on. So there's this winter dance. And of course, it's the whole Cinderella thing. Both of the daughters got dates and everything, and dad is there, and the dad is taking pictures, and Keyshawn's standing back there eating a bowl of cereal. She ain't even going. I'm like, oh wow. So then the dad says to Keyshawn, Keyshawn, could you take a picture of all of us? The mother, him, and the 2 daughters, and the 2 dates. She's like, sure, daddy. So as she's taking the picture, this when it gets broke up, baby. It's really a Cinderella story, baby. The doorbell rings, honey. And she turns around, honey, and it's Derek, honey. Clean as the Board of Health, honey. With a garment bag and some other bags. I said, oh. And here it is, baby. He had done went and got her everything. And the shoe. Ah! Oh! This shoe that Derek bought her, Miss. Girl, I might have to get 1 or 2 of them ass whoopers myself, honey, about that shoe. This shoe was sickening. Did you hear me? It was very Cinderella. It's a clear heel. It had the fiberglass heel and rhinestones. Oh, these shoes were something to die for. You hear me? Beautiful royal blue dress. And she really did look just like a fairy tale princess. And she had a blue fur cape, honey. I said, yes, Keyshawn. Had her hair in an updo. Looked like a little fairy tale princess. She looked so good. And honey, I said, what they gagging for? Why are y'all? Because they know his family was prominent and they had money. And they was gagging, honey. Gagging. Now, here's the thing. While that was going on, I clocked it. I don't know if any of you clocked it. But when the dad asked her to take the picture, and she went over and she took the picture, the older sister had this whole fidgety thing, and she was very uneasy about Keyshawn's dad. Keyshawn's dad had a very nasty tone of creepism on him. I said, what's going on? Something going on over there. I said, what you trying to tell me, Katori? Said, I ain't missed it. I done caught it. What the hell's going on, Katori? With Keyshawn's dad, honey. Anyway, I'm going to get back to it in a minute. I clocked that. Did y'all clock that? Put it down there in them comments. Tell me, did y'all clock dad was a creep? Something was creepy about daddy's ass? I said, that sister, she ain't like that shit. I said, oh, something going on there. Anyway, so they go on out. They, the 2 sisters, and that's the thing. They went to different parties. The sisters went to the party that had the red cups with the people from school. They was dancing and they was backing it up and carrying on. Keyshawn went to the party, honey, where they was doing a foxtrot and drinking out of wine glasses. I said, oh. Honey, and child, and then people were looking at her like, who's this black bitch doing in here? That's exactly what they were giving, and I meant it just like I said it. I ain't gonna apologize for it. That's how they was looking at her. What is this black bitch doing in here? She's in here breaking it up, whores. She's breaking it up. That's what she's doing. Look better than every one of y'all in here. Except for his mother. Baby, his mother, that old bitch was I said, wait a minute. Dude, that's where the money came from. Honey, because I say he would do this one part where it looked like he's ready to kiss her, honey, and she stood over. I said, girl, that's the mother. She was clean as hell. She had this beautiful gown on. I said, oh, that's where the money. There's the purse right there, baby. But anyway, after they left out of there, you know, they're leaving out. And he told her, you know, come on, Keyshawn, let's go. I got to get you home. And it started snowing. Like, everything was just so perfect because, you know, it don't snow in Mississippi like that. Child, so she was out there trying to lick it. You know, she goofy. I said, girl, He's like, Keyshawn, come on, get in the car. I gotta take you home. Your dad's gonna kill me if I don't get you home on time. So he didn't get her home on time. They oh, before that, she had noticed he had a mark on his eye. He had said that something happened and he hit his eye or something, and he was actually being abused at home. He said he hit his eye. Then they had a little talk about his mom, you know, and she's saying how she didn't actually realize that was his mom. She just realized how the lady kept giving him eyes. Like, that's my mother. She said, oh, I'm sorry, you know, or whatever. He's like, no, I mean, but, you know, it's just her. That's what she gives. She's all bark, no bite. And then he was saying, my dad does something different. And he actually had a bruise on his face here. The dad was an ass whooper like him. I said, girl, that's side number 2. Daddy whoop ass too. So, it's on there, kind of. Anyway, child. So they end up, they make it out and stuff, and I'm thinking that I think he was a virgin. I know he had said that his dad had thought he was gay, and he told him, I'm not gay, I cheer or whatever. He had just talked about that real small, but he didn't really go into it. But for some reason, when they were having that scene, y'all tell me what y'all think. I thought that, because like when they were kissing and stuff and making out, she reached her hand down there. He's like, I said, girl, you're a virgin. I said, this thing, no, you're not. You going to take his virginity, girl? I said, oh, Miss Keisha. Girl, she pulled that damn dress down, honey, and showed them beautiful black titties. I said, he's done. He's done. He is done. And I'm pretty sure that's what Katori was showing us, because remember, when she wanted the permission to go out on that tour, she went over there and put that black box on him, honey, and he was all messed up. So I think that's the draw. Right there, in there, as where I got said, that's the draw. She done took his virginity. So she introduced him to the dark arts. She introduced him to the dark arts. She put that black box on him and them most beautiful black titties, and he just couldn't handle it. She blew his head all the way back. She split his wig cap, honey. Pork biscuit, Sean, honey. And she feels sorry for him because she knew he was being abused at home. Anyway, so we got that, okay? Goes on out of here. He gets her home. Delayed. Stepmommy, she's trying to tip in the door. Stepmommy is on the couch. And she is just drunk and in her feelings. And she says to Keyshawn, it's the first time she actually said something halfway nice. She said, I'm sorry about being late. And she said, don't worry about it. Your dad's not here, so he don't know, and I won't tell him. And she said, besides, you beat the other 2 home anyway, so this time you're the good girl. She said, okay, well, thank you. And then she told her, she said, so tonight, what was that all about? She's like, I know, right? Like everything. She said, brought everything. She said, and everything you wore, everything for you was custom. She said, yeah, I know, you know. And she gonna say, oh, but you didn't get to pick. Be careful when a man makes you his Barbie doll, because he'll always buy a new one. And Keyshawn just looked at her and went on up them steps. But see, there was more to that. That Keyshawn, I don't think, was really paying attention to. That said to me, when he said that he'll always buy a new one, that the Barbie doll in question that was working her, getting on her nerves, was either he was away with another woman, because she said he ain't home, he's somewhere screwing another woman, the way that he got her, okay, the way he got her, or does she know that creepiness factor that has to do with the daughter? Or is it a combination of the two? Something just, I mean, they could actually, the storyline could go either way. That's the vibes I got. Either the mama know that he's cheating with another woman and she's being replaced, which makes total sense. It makes total sense because how you get them is how you lose them, baby. How you start is how you finish, bitch. So when you was serving drinks and thought you was turning it, now you being turned. But also that little scene with the daughter, and it was the one daughter feeling some kind of way. And I don't know, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, she is the oldest daughter. She could have been aware of the fact that the dad was tipping out. And that might be why she was uneasy with him too. So I don't know. It could be either way. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Because I didn't think about that when I was actually watching it until just now when I'm speaking about it. See, this is why I love doing these reviews. Because again, aha moment. Boom. Ding, ding, ding. Aha. It may not have been that he did anything to the daughter. The daughter is the oldest daughter, and she may actually know that he was stepping out. But no, his behavior and the way he looked was just creepy to me. And I'm going to go with both. I'm going to go with both. But I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Am I doing too much? Do I care? I'm going to go with both. Creepy and sneaky. Mm-hmm. Bastard. Anyway, moving on. So Keyshawn goes on up to her room, and then her fairy tale begins. It comes crashing. She ended up getting pregnant. She got pregnant. Okay? And he got thrown out of the house. And this leads them over to where they are. So she actually had that first baby. She was just getting out of high school and stuff. And baby, the mother and them first, and she said the mother has sent some things. She's like, that's ugly. Like, you know, whatever the color was. And he was like getting all testy, and they got into it. She was like 7 months pregnant. 7 months pregnant. And he ended up like snapping out on her because she was like fussing. They was going back and forth. And he was like talking about whatever. She's like, I'm the one. What are you talking about? Because, you know, she basically takes care of him now. That started way back then. You know, once he got disowned from the family, he'd been on Keyshawn's dime this whole time. You know, she said, it was my daddy, the down payment for this place and this, that, thing, and the other. So what is you snapping all out for? Oh, your mother want to buy something now, all of a sudden. All this been on my dime. I'm the one that's going out working. I'm 7 months pregnant. I take care of you, and you talking smack to me. Honey, and that's when the first time it happened, baby, that little hot mouth, baby, he went over there and grabbed her and said, I should have not to ever put my dick in you, what do you call her? Wrong side of the tracks ass bitch. I said, oh no. Baby, and took and choked her, and I mean choked her into a blackout. And that's what Uncle Clifford, as he's near Uncle Clifford said, that's the day that Mississippi was born. That was the separation. That's where her separation came. Choked her out. 7 months pregnant. Off the chain. She go home, banging on door. And the stepmother opens the door, told her, oh, no. You can't come in, honey. She said, well, where's my dad? She said, he feels the same. You can't come in. She said, I made a mistake. She said, no, you made a choice. And no, you can't come in. And it was raining outside and everything. She had no coat on, nothing. She's soaking wet. 7 months pregnant. That nasty bitch looked her right in her face. And closed the door in her face. I said, oh, wow. So that's the connection. She get back home, because she told her, go home, Keyshawn. She go back home, he done buy flowers and all this shit. I'm sorry, I won't never do it again. That stuff that he does all the time now. I said, there go the story. They told the story so well, even though it seemed like a fairy tale and it was all. I said, okay. When we got to the end, we was getting to the back to the grit and the grime, which is their real life now in real time. I said, oh. Anyway, so that was that. Okay, so boom, that's the end of that. Now we're gonna move on into real time. Baby, after Mississippi performance, she was turning it. She performed. Jocelyn gave her a card, told her, you know, she said, well, you want me to come dance for you? She said, no, sometimes a bitch just want to talk to another bitch. Because she said, you going places. And that's what she told her. She said, you'll never lose yourself, because you'll always be a hoe to them. You'll always be a hoe to them. But you know what you got going on. You know what's going on. And she said, you'll be always be able to get in touch with me. She said, but I'm having a little thing. You know, you come on out. We're going to talk. We're going to chill. Jocelyn wanted to, you know, she's like a fairy godmother. That's actually what Uncle Clifford says she met her fairy godmother. So she's like, okay. So they performed. They went back to the hotel and stuff. And Keyshawn had all this money. So they had to, you know, get the money together and all of that. And of course, you know, he got to get his cut and all of that shit. So Rome's like, you know, come when you get that money together, just come on down to my room. We can roll to the Jocelyn Hernandez thing. And so they're like, oh yeah, well yeah, let's go ahead and do this. He's like, y'all niggas ain't going. Y'all can't come. It's just me and Keyshawn. Y'all should be glad I was able to get y'all these rooms here. Because if it was up to Wody, y'all would be staying at the Super 8. This, that, and the other. So he back on that. Big Teak had enough. Big Teak had this badass jacket on too. That jacket was so damn sharp. But he got up there, honey, and you know, them two still be having their little back and forths. And Wody's like, seems like you need a bitch. That's what his problem is. And he's looking, he's gonna say, he looked at Wody and Wody said, or not. And then you can hear people talking on the set. It's like, fuck, these niggas was fucking. You know, so Wody knows what's going on. I wasn't sure that Wody know exactly what was going on between them two, but he knows. Everybody knows. So Big T goes in the other room because he was ready to snap out. He's ready to get Rome. He was going to get him. I said, oh, get him. But that's what he said. He said, I don't need nothing from nobody. I don't never need no handouts from nobody. Do you understand me? I was like, ooh. He said, what? These plush beds ain't good enough for you? What you want, a jail cot, huh, nigga? I said, oh, you gonna get it. I said, get him, Big T. And so he goes over in the other room. So Rome's like, I'm out of here. You get your stuff, Keyshawn, you come on. So she's like stuck in the middle. She said, that's all right, y'all. She said, I'm gonna go get y'all room keys. Y'all stay here. That was in the room that he had for her. They was in her room. She said, I'm gonna get y'all room keys and I'll bring the room keys down when I come down from there. So she ends up, you know, she goes ahead and Wody was like, what's up with him? Like, y'all keep arguing and stuff. He's like, I'm gonna go talk to him. I don't know why he getting like this. I hate when he do this. He's like, all right, whatever. So he goes over there to talk to him or whatever. So Keyshawn gets herself dressed. And when she's getting ready to walk out the room, she has this really cute blue suit, blue jacket, but she had like a stripper outfit on. So she gonna work at the party too. You know, she's gonna work at the party. She'll make some more money. She had these cute little blue shoes on, everything, and she, you know, but she's all covered up, you know, everything. So Wody told her, he's like, she said, what, Wody? What? He don't say, I don't like your hair. She's like, what, nigga? He's like, no, I'm not trying to be funny or nothing. I just don't like your hair. I like your hair like your hair that grow out your scalp. Wody caught it. You know, he caught it. He's trying to change your image and make you into like this slutty Barbie instead of black Barbie. He wants you to be slutty Barbie. So, and you know, that's just kind of like, that ain't even you. That ain't even your choice. You be redheaded. You be black haired. You don't be wearing blonde hair. That's like so off it. It was like platinum. So he's like, whatever. So she went on, you know, looked at him, on. She goes up to the room. She's talking to Ron. Gets to talking to him. He tells her that the wig deal fell through. But he got this other idea. It's these stripper shoes. So she like, the wig deal was actually better because he's like, well, wait a minute, what's wrong? She's like, no, the wig deal is better because that is national. Everybody loves wigs. Everybody loves the lace fronts. That's big. That's bank. You know, she's like, this stripper shoe shit, this is just like, that's a small, specific client base, and I ain't really trying to be with that. And he got to talking about hoes and this, that, and the other. And she could see, like, the thing that Jocelyn had just said about you gonna always be a hoe to them. Yeah. And he still got this robe on, whatever. So he tell her, okay, go ahead and I'm gonna get my clothes on. And then he said, he tried the shoe on her and you just schmoozed her. And she's like, it'll be all right. It's okay. And he wanted her to wear them shoes instead of the shoes she had on. So he says, go ahead, get yourself together, and then I'm going to put my clothes on, and then we'll, you know, be ready to roll out. He comes up in the room, and he's standing there in the door, baby, with dang dong hanging right out, honey. He come in there talking that stuff. It got very uncomfortable very quickly. He's talking to her, and she's like, "Room, your robe, close your robe," you know. And he closed it up, and then they get to going back and forth, and the conversation's going, and the next thing you know, he's being disrespectful, and he's telling her basically, "You ain't nothing but a damn hoe ass stripper. And that's all you gonna be, and this, that, and the other. And I done did all of this for you." And she's like, "You ain't did what you do. Like, I mean, I make money. I make money. So I don't understand that. Like, what I owe you, I don't owe you nothing. Like, I've paid you and whatever." Honey, he told her, you know, "Dude, you always gotta pay. A bitch always gotta pay." When it just that the other. The next thing you know, he done took her, honey, and yanked her and threw her on the bed and tried to rape her. He had ripped her garment, one of her titties hanging out. He threw her on the bed. Baby, she got up, and I'm like, "You can't. Why can't you do this with Derek?" She got up, baby, and she gave him the old 1-2, baby, and she got up out of there. And she went running. Running, she need him in that, child. You know they was out, child. She went running out of there. It was terrible. Like, it was really, Couture, you did the hell out of that. But it was very ugh. She running down the hallway of the damn hotel, titty out, no shoes. She had left her jacket. She just half naked, and you see the rhinestones falling off the outfit where he done ripped it, and just a mess. She gets there, and oh, that was the other thing. He told her when they were arguing. He showed her the photo. Talking about he knew about Lil Murder. You know, he was gonna hold all that over. He was trying to talk her into screwing him. He's like trying to blackmail her into it. And she was like, "I didn't think about what you talk about," and then he just gonna take it. Show her he had video of Teak, and he done bugged their room. He had video of Lil Murder and Teak getting down. I said, "Oh Lord," it was on his phone. So she runs out or whatever, and she tells Wody what's going on, and she told Wody, "I want to go home. I want to go home." I said, "Oh, child, that's mahogany." That was that little piece right there. That was that same from mahogany, honey. "I want to go home." I said, "Yes, indeed." And Wody was like, "All right, no problem." And you can see Wody. I was like, "No, this is different for Wody." You know, Wody's usually so unbothered. I was like, "Mm-mm." And she told me, she said he knows about Lil Murder and Tink and stuff. And he's like, "What? What are you talking about?" He's like, "He know everything. He got video on his phone." He is like, "Oh, okay, all right." So the next thing we see Keyshawn going home. We see her coming in the door. She hung got this real cute little blue tracksuit on. She go in there, and her oldest boy is kind of acting funny, and he's putting the thing over his head, and he hiding his little self, and there are things that he's saying. You know, she's like, "What's wrong with him?" You know, she's like, "Well, they ain't seen you in like 2 weeks, Keyshawn," you know, whatever. So she ends up taking the baby to. He was coddling that one arm. She take him to the doctors. While she there at the doctors, come to find out his arm done been dislocated. And then the doctor, doctor and the nurse, they like, "Baby, the black and blue, all up his back, all up his back." So of course, you know, they didn't question her, baby, and they got it going on now. You know, they got it going on. She come back. She come to the house, and he's trying to get dressed to go to something. She go take the baby, put him in his room. She closed the door. She come back out. I said, "Uh-oh." I said, "Girl, you great to do it?" Girl, I thought she's great to cancel Derek's ass. But she came out of there, baby, and she was standing up to him. She told him he is 3 years old, and he's going to say, he got a spanking, this, that, and the other. She was like, "A spanking? No." She said, "What you not going to do is be beating my kids the way that you got beat." She said, "You beat me, but you not beating my goddamn kids." Honey, they get to going back and forth. And she'll say, "You dislocated his arm. You know, this, that, thing, the other." They going back and forth, back and forth. And she told him, "You didn't deserve that when you were little, and you're not doing that." And he says, he turned around there and he slapped her. Or punched her. He punched her. They punched her in the mouth because he busted her mouth. Her mouth was bleeding. She's like, she said, "That's it. We are leaving. We're not doing this." Baby, that thing took her and slammed her down on that floor and got to dragging her by her hair. It was, oh my God. Oh my God. Drag her by her hair from the living room all the way to the goddamn kitchen and got her and banged her against the wall and took the iron and was getting ready to give her Penny from Good Times. I said, oh, dear, you mother. And she was screaming at him, anywhere, anywhere but my face. Please, please, anywhere but my face. And you could see the steam from the eye. I was like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I was so mad. I was so mad. Oh my gosh. And he ended up stopping. He ended up stopping and then told her, I'll discipline my kids any way I want to. And he said, well, he beat him because he was crying. And he was in there crying, you know, when he heard all that. He go in there. I said, oh, he beating him again? And she sitting up there crying. I said, girl. I was like, you. That's where we left. We left their house, and I'm glad we did because I was getting furious. And then we see Wody. Wody goes, and he go over to Rome's room. Rome's having a whole orgy. They're having an orgy over there, baby. They just get down, tearing it up on that couch. People just get down. They just walk around, they snort, cook, doing whatever. And he went in there. Now, you know, Wody worked for a funeral home. Wody go in there. He said, we'll talk some business. Go in there. So he just go in there and make some random conversation with him. And he give him a bag of blow. And he like, oh, thank you, man. He like, mm-hmm. He cutting it up in the lines and everything. So he's like, yeah. So he like, yeah, here, you. Because he kind of looked at him and he said, you go ahead, you hit some first. So Wody goes ahead and he snorted a little line, but Wody snorted a little line. I caught it that he snorted a little line further back where there was already some coke on the tray and not in the new coke that he put on the tray. Baby. Boyfriend go and he snorted his line. He's up there, he snorted a little more. He greedy old junkie. He's sitting there and Wody started talking to him. And he starts saying, so how you want to be buried? I said, what? Child, you can talk about, yeah, he's going to say, yeah, I know my mother, you know, the little conversations was real dark. So I know my mother went to heaven, nigga. This, that, and the other. He said, well, how you want to be buried? You want to be cremated or you want to be put in a casket? What kind of casket you want, nigga? You know, this, that, and the other. And he going on, he going to say, oh, yeah. With Keyshawn, nigga, don't you ever. He said, I know everything. Keyshawn told me everything. And where's this movie you got on about murder? And he said, wait a minute, I can't breathe. He was like, I know. He said, that's how. He said, you're getting something that most people don't get. Most people don't get ushered into death, nigga. I said, he's talking to, and it was so, you know, Wody is so nice and so like carefree. He had this really evil look on his face, and he looked kind of, it was, don't judge me, but for the first time, Wody actually came across, he was like sexy and demonic at the same time. I was like, oh, Red Robin, yum, honey. I said, don't judge me. Honey, I said, he giving Robin Hood, honey. He is doing a good deed that's wrapped with a bad deed, honey, and got a smirk on his face. I was like, oh, Wody. Oh, my. This too much. Honey, he watched that damn fool OD and over there on the floor, honey, and then just walked on out the room. I said, and they gonna say, hey, somebody call the 911. This fool done OD'd in there. I said, that's just how people be in parties. But they be getting all high up, and then nobody care nothing about you. When you partying like that hardcore part, they don't care nothing. Now, here come my PSA. You are to watch your back at all times. Nobody is watching your back. Do you understand? When you're doing that kind of cold, hard partying, when you fall over there, bitch, they're going to step over you and they're going to get out of there before the police come. Believe it. Somebody will call 911 from down the street. Anyway, but that's where we ended up at. And I said, why is it that Wody is sexy to me now all of a sudden? Because that damn demon, honey, he got him. I said, oh, Wody. Anyway, so that was that. But I don't know if Wody actually got the. I don't know. Like I don't know what are you gonna do about the video. But I think it'll probably resurface because you know that damn fool done put that video somewhere. He got that video somewhere. He ain't the only one to know about it. He's a dirty dog. He's a dirty dog, but he went out like he was supposed to. Grimy bastard. Anyway, I'm done with this. It's a long one again. Try to be so much going on, but this episode it went back to the old original gritty down in the valley where the girl is getting naked. It got there, but it really did at the beginning. It felt like I'm watching a different world. And it was okay. It was cool. Like I said, somebody who's never seen the show before could actually come in on this episode and really fall in love with the show and then want to go backward and forward. So, yeah, it's good. Another good job, Katori. I'm here for it. All right, you guys, hit the comments. Let me know what y'all think. That is episode 5, season 2 of our favorite, honey, P Valley. Yes, God, honey. I'll see y'all next week. Later.